Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a fascinating plunge, really, into something that's fundamentally shifting the landscape of education.
Yeah, we're talking about artificial intelligence in our modern classrooms.
Exactly. And think of this as your express route to grasping a really significant transformation happening, well, right now.
And our roadmap for this exploration comes from AI Transforms Modern Classrooms. It's episode 14 of the Future Lens podcast.
Right, featuring Emma and the ed tech expert, Dr. Raj Patel.
hmm And our goal today really is to pull out the core insights about AI in education, give you clarity, maybe some surprising facts, without getting totally bogged down in the tech details.
Okay, sounds good. So, when we talk about AI in education, I think a lot of us, maybe our first thought is robots, teaching the class.
Yeah, that sci-fi image pops up a lot,
Yeah.
but the reality is uh, quite different.
Okay.
The key thing to understand is that AI isn't really about replacing teachers. It's much more about powerfully enhancing things, both how students learn and how educators teach.
Enhancing. How so? What does that look like?
Well, we're seeing it in a few key areas already. Things like personalized learning experiences tailored to each student,
Okay.
automating certain tasks like grading, which frees up teachers,
Mhm.
providing instant feedback to students as they work, and even these quite sophisticated AI tutoring systems offering one-on-one support.
Personalized learning, that's definitely a term you hear thrown around a lot. Can you break that down? What does it actually feel like for a student using one of these systems?
Sure. Imagine a platform that really learns you. That's kind of the core idea. The podcast mentioned examples like Khan Academy and newer platforms using things like GPT technology.
Right.
What's really clever is how they adapt when you make a mistake. It's not just wrong answer, try again.
Ah.
The AI tries to figure out why you might have gone wrong. Maybe you missed a basic concept earlier on.
Okay, so diagnoses the problem.
In a way, yes, and then it adjusts what comes next. Maybe it gives you a different explanation or more practice on that specific weak spot. It creates this dynamic loop, constantly adjusting to your needs.
Wow. So it's almost like having a personal tutor who's constantly monitoring you and tweaking the lesson plan just for you in real time.
That's a great way to put it, and that's just worlds away from the traditional classroom, right? Where one teacher is trying their best to cater to 30 different learning speeds and styles all at once.
Yeah, that individual attention is so hard to achieve consistently in a big group.
Exactly. It's a huge challenge. AI offers a way to potentially scale that kind of personalized support much more effectively than we ever could before.
Okay, so that's the student side. What about the teachers? They're often juggling so much already. How does AI actually help them?
Oh, this is a big one. AI can be a massive help here. Think about all the administrative stuff teachers get bogged down in.
Right, the paperwork, the planning.
Precisely. AI tools are emerging to help with that. The podcast mentioned things like uh, using AI to generate first drafts of lesson plans or create varied quiz questions,
Interesting.
even getting creative writing prompts. And then there's grading. Platforms like Gradescope, for example, can use AI to automatically grade multiple choice and even some short answer questions.
So basically, taking some of the more routine, time consuming tasks off their plate.
Exactly. And the result, less time on admin, more time for what really matters, engaging with students, offering guidance, fostering that curiosity.
That makes a lot of sense. Freeing them up for the human connection part of teaching.
That's the goal, empowering teachers by reducing the administrative burden.
The source material also mentions something about AI helping with early intervention for students who might be struggling. How does that work?
Yeah, this is quite powerful. AI systems can analyze performance data over time, looking at quiz results, participation, engagement levels, things like that. And they can spot patterns that might not be immediately obvious to a busy teacher, like a student who's consistently struggling with a specific type of problem or whose engagement is slowly dropping off.
So it flags potential issues earlier.
Exactly. It's proactive. It can alert the teacher or even parents much sooner, allowing for support to be put in place before a small struggle becomes a major roadblock.
That really does sound potentially transformative. And speaking of transformative, it sounds like AI is making big waves in special needs education, too.
Oh, absolutely. This is an area where you hear words like revolutionary. The podcast highlighted several AI-powered assistive technologies,
Like what?
things like really good speech-to-text and text-to-speech tools, predictive typing software, which can
Yeah.
be a huge help for students with writing difficulties,
Mhm.
and even sort of cutting-edge stuff looking at emotion recognition to potentially help students with social emotional learning needs.
Wow, that's quite a range. Can you give a concrete example? How might this help, say, a student with dyslexia?
Sure, imagine a student reading on a tablet. AI software can read the text aloud while simultaneously highlighting each word as it's spoken.
Ah, so auditory and visual input together.
Exactly. That combination can dramatically improve reading comprehension and fluency for someone with dyslexia. It just opens up access to information in a new way.
That's fantastic.
Hmm.
Now, these advancements are obviously exciting, but it's not all smooth sailing. The podcast did raise some concerns, some challenges. What were the main ones?
And it's crucial we talk about those too. A big one is data privacy.
Right, all this student data being collected.
Precisely. How is it stored? How is it used? Who has access? We need really strong safeguards and transparency there.
Definitely.
Another major issue is the digital divide. Do all schools, all students, have equal access to the devices, the internet, the infrastructure needed for these AI tools? We need to ensure equity.
That's a huge point. Access is key.
And then there's the ongoing conversation about screen time, finding that right balance for student well-being. These are all valid and important concerns to address.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's tackle the big question I'm sure is on many listeners' minds. Is AI going to replace human teachers? What did Dr. Patel say about that?
He is very clear, very firm on this point. AI is a tool, it augments teaching, it supports teachers, but it absolutely does not replace the human element.
That's reassuring.
Think about it, the empathy, the encouragement, the mentorship, building that rapport. AI can't replicate that genuine human connection.
So the teacher's role is shifting, maybe, but not disappearing.
Exactly. It's moving beyond just delivering information. Teachers are motivators, guides, role models. Those aspects are irreplaceable.
Okay. So looking ahead then, say 5, maybe 10 years down the line, what might education look like with more integrated AI? What was the vision?
The podcast painted a picture of what they call hybrid classrooms becoming much more common.
Hybrid, meaning?
A blend. In-person teaching combined seamlessly with sophisticated AI tools. We might see things like real-time translation happening in classrooms with students from diverse language backgrounds.
Wow, okay.
Or imagine immersive science labs using AI-driven virtual reality simulations. Or AI mentors available after school for personalized homework help.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does. And there was even talk about AI potentially helping design curricula, maybe analyzing future job market trends to suggest skills that education should focus on.
Adapting education for future careers. That's a fascinating thought.
It really is. Thinking proactively about preparation.
Now, for teachers or administrators listening who might feel a bit, well, maybe intimidated or just hesitant about bringing AI into their classrooms, what practical advice was offered?
The advice was actually very down to earth.
Yeah.
Start small. Don't feel you need to overhaul everything at once.
Okay. Dip a toe in.
Exactly. Try out one specific tool, maybe an AI quiz generator to save some prep time, or an AI grading assistant for a particular assignment type, or even a simple chatbot for answering common student questions.
So experiment and see what works.
Yes. Explore what's out there. See how these tools can genuinely assist you in your work. The key message was, view AI as an assistant, a collaborator, not as a replacement.
Right, it's a tool in the toolbox.
Precisely.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it really sounds like AI is set to make some profound changes in education. We're talking more personalized learning, significant support for teachers, new avenues for students with special needs.
Definitely. And glimpses into a potentially very different future for how we learn and teach.
But crucially, alongside acknowledging those important challenges like privacy and equity that need careful navigation.
Absolutely. The potential is huge, but the implementation requires thoughtfulness.
So the big takeaway seems to be significant transformation is underway, offering compelling benefits if handled well.
I think that's fair to say. And it leaves us, and you listening, with a really interesting question to chew on. As AI becomes more and more deeply woven into our educational fabric, how might that actually change our definition of education itself? What skills become paramount? What does it mean to be educated in an AI-assisted world?
That's a big question. How does it reshape not just the how, but the what and why of learning?
Exactly. Something to really think about as we watch this evolution unfold.